In a kingdom hidden beyond silver mountains and whispering forests, where the sky shimmered with soft violet light and the rivers sang lullabies at night, there lived a princess whose beauty was known across all lands, yet whose sorrow was deeper than the darkest ocean. Her name was Princess Aloan. She was born on a night when the stars fell like glowing petals from the heavens, and the entire kingdom celebrated her arrival as a blessing of magic and hope, for it was said that she carried within her heart the rarest power of all, the ability to feel the emotions of every living soul around her. As a child, Aloan laughed like chiming bells, her joy lighting up the castle halls, her tiny footsteps echoing through golden corridors as servants smiled and her parents watched with pride, believing she would grow into the most radiant queen the kingdom had ever known. But magic, even the most beautiful kind, often carries a hidden cost. As Aloan grew older, her gift began to change. She could feel not only happiness, but pain. She could feel the silent tears of a lonely servant, the hidden grief of a soldier missing his family, the quiet despair of a mother who had lost her child, and the aching sorrow of strangers she had never even met. At first, she tried to ignore it. She smiled, she laughed, she played her role as the perfect princess. But the weight of thousands of hearts slowly began to crush her own. At night, when the castle slept, Aloan would sit by her window, staring at the moon with trembling eyes, her chest heavy with emotions that were not entirely hers, tears slipping silently down her cheeks as she whispered, "Why does it hurt so much to feel everything?" No one understood her pain. To the kingdom, she was blessed. To herself, she was breaking. As the years passed, her laughter faded. Her bright dresses remained untouched. Her once joyful eyes grew distant, as if she was always looking at something far away, something invisible to others. People began to whisper. They called her the Silent Princess. They said she was strange, cold, distant. But none of them knew that inside her heart lived a storm of emotions so powerful it threatened to tear her apart. One day, while wandering through the enchanted forest beyond the castle walls, Aloan felt something different. A pain unlike the others. It was sharp, deep, and ancient. She followed it like a whisper pulling her forward, her feet moving without hesitation, until she reached a hidden clearing where a boy sat beneath a dying tree. He looked ordinary. Worn clothes, tired eyes, and a quiet sadness that wrapped around him like a shadow. But his pain was overwhelming. It was as if he carried an entire lifetime of sorrow within him. Aloan stepped closer, her heart trembling. "Why are you so sad?" she asked softly. The boy looked up, surprised. "No one has ever asked me that before," he replied. And in that moment, something changed. For the first time in her life, Aloan did not feel alone in her pain. The boy's name was Kale. He had no family, no home, and no place in the world. Yet despite his suffering, there was a quiet strength in him, a resilience that fascinated Aloan. She began to visit him every day. They would sit beneath the same tree, sharing stories, silence, and the weight of their emotions. For the first time, Aloan felt something new. Not just sadness, but connection. Kale did not see her as a princess. He saw her as a person. And slowly, her heart began to heal. But happiness, for Aloan, was never meant to last. One evening, as the sky burned with shades of crimson, Kale looked at her with an expression she had never seen before. "You feel everyone's pain, don't you?" he said. Aloan froze. "Yes," she whispered. Kale smiled sadly. "Then you must know. I don't belong here." Before she could understand, the air around them began to shift. The forest darkened. The wind grew cold. And Kale's form began to fade. He was not human. He was a spirit. A soul bound to the forest, cursed to exist between worlds, carrying the sorrow of forgotten lives. "I was never meant to stay," he said gently. Aloan reached out, tears streaming down her face. "Don't leave me," she begged. But Kale only shook his head. "You gave me something I never had, someone who understood me," he said softly, But your destiny is not to carry all this pain alone. With those final words, he disappeared. And the silence that followed was louder than any scream. Eloan fell to her knees, her heart shattering into pieces. The one person who understood her was gone. And with him, the only light she had ever known. After that day, Eloan changed completely. She stopped leaving the castle. She stopped speaking. Her presence became like a ghost wandering through empty halls, her eyes hollow, her heart unbearably heavy. The kingdom grew worried. Healers were called. Magic was used. But nothing could heal a broken soul. Years passed. The once beautiful princess became a legend. The saddest princess of the enchanted kingdom. But deep within her sorrow, something began to grow. A realization. A quiet understanding. That her gift was not a curse. It was a responsibility. One night, under the same moon she had cried beneath for so many years, Eloan stood once again at her window. But this time, she did not feel overwhelmed. She felt clarity. She stepped outside the castle. She walked through the sleeping kingdom. And wherever she went, she listened. To the pain. To the sorrow. To the silent cries of her people. But instead of drowning in it, she began to act. She comforted the grieving. She helped the lost. She brought hope to those who had none. Slowly, the kingdom began to change. Not because the sadness disappeared. But because someone finally understood it. Eloan still felt everything. Every tear. Every broken heart. Every silent scream. But now, she carried it with purpose. She became a queen not of power, but of compassion. And though her heart remained heavy, it was no longer empty. Because even in the deepest sadness, she had found meaning. And sometimes, that is the strongest magic of all.